If you're wondering whether you've missed the window to build wealth, if there's still time for you to set yourself up for a life of choice, this episode's for you. Because today I'm going to reveal exactly what I'd wished I had told my 40-year-old self and how you can use these insights, these thoughts to fast track your financial journey to financial freedom. All right. All right, so you're looking at your life, you're saying, God, I thought I would be further ahead financially at this stage or age of my life. And here's the thing, before you start judging yourself, before you start beating yourself up because you thought you would be further ahead, let's start to look at things and say, is there still time? Now, here's my perspective. What's your choice? No matter what your age or stage is, you got to get in the game. You cannot win the wealth game in the stands or on the sidelines. You have to be on the field playing. And so what I want to do here is I'm going to focus on the things that I would have told myself at 40 years old. Now, mind you, I am 63 right now. And what would I have told myself 23 years ago? Now, some of these things I was doing. Some of these things I wasn't doing. Some of these things I probably should have done more of. But here's the thing. All of them will help you navigate to financial freedom, no matter your age or stage of life, no matter your circumstances when you get it dialed in. So whether you're 20, 30, 40, or 50, or even 60, let's go through this, all right? So I'm going to break down 11 things that I would have told myself at 40 that I know now at 63 and being on this journey for decades on financial freedom and advising people just like you to find the path to financial freedom. So the first one is this, is that I would have automated earlier, okay? Automate everything, your savings and investing. Now, in my defense, I'm 63. 23 years ago, the level of automation that was available to us is not what it is today. Today, it can be almost fully automated. And here's why we do this, is that when they give us a credit card, they know what's happening. They don't give us a credit card for you to have credit. Okay, we think I got to get a credit card for credit. The marketers, the credit card companies, they give you credit cards not for the credit. They give you the credit cards to remove the friction from the buying decisions. And when they remove friction from buying decisions, you buy more. They get it. The problem is that we have very little friction in our buying and a lot of friction in our investing and savings. And if we reverse that, that's when we start on the path to financial freedom and building wealth. What we really need to do is remove the friction from our investing and savings, meaning that we got to automate it. If you have to push the buttons, if you have to write a check, if you have to do conscious transfers, the ability to sustain it, to have the discipline long-term to continue to do it is a bit more difficult. It's not impossible, but it is a bit more difficult. So we want to automate it so you don't have decision fatigue, so you don't have the friction that's pushing against you to make it happen. That means that I want you to set up an automatic transfer of savings. In chapter 12 of my book, Building Your Money Machine, okay, I talk about the wealth priority ladder, and I literally tell you what to do with every single dollar that comes into your life, how to allocate it, what the priority is, and what to do. And when you automate it, you know, 20 to 25% of your income should be going towards investing. Once you have your peace of mind fund in place and you've got destructive debt under control, then you automate it. It's automatic. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to calculate it. It's automatically happening. It's going to savings. It's going to pay your bills. It's going to go into investing. It's going to build your portfolio. And you just take that out. And so when we do that, we then make sure that we're in the wealth creation game. We're on the field playing the game. Because if we don't do it and we don't have the automation, there was times I know in my life where I said, oh, I need the money. We're going to do that. So I'm not going to invest this month. Okay. And it impacts you. You don't think it's a lot, but it impacts you. And so we need to look at it through those eyes and automate as much as possible towards our investing, towards our savings. Okay. Put as much friction into our buying decisions as possible. That leads me to number two. Number two is maximize tax-advantaged accounts. This means that your 401k, your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, your catch-up contributions, all of those things really are really important. If you are not maxing out, especially if you are working for an employer and they match on your 401k and you are not getting the max of the match, you are leaving free money on the table. Y'all, if I came walking into your house and I come walking in and I'm dropping $100 bills all over the floor, would you pick them up? And my guess is you would pick them up. But your employer's kind of doing the same thing. What they're doing is they're saying, you come and work for us. You put $100, if you put $100 in, we'll put $100 on top and you pick up both. It's free money. Make sure that you're getting the full match. And I talk about it again in the wealth priority ladder. But if you're not fully funding your 401k, your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, and taking full advantage of the tax advantaged accounts, then you are leaving money on the table. You're leaving wealth on the table, because now what's happening is you're either going to have money when you're doing this, you're going to have money growing either tax-free in the case of a Roth or tax-deferred in the case of a 401k or an IRA. But you're going to allow you to use the tax rules and the tax laws to your advantage and to allow you to build wealth in a way that isn't stripping it away to taxes, at least immediately. You'll have to pay taxes on the Roth and the 401k. I mean, not on the Roth, but on the IRA or the 401k when you pull it out. If it is Roth, you won't pay taxes on it when you pull it out. It's completely tax-free. Think about that. Think about that. We got a 16 and a half-year-old kid that joined one of my programs. At 17, he got a job. He asked me what to do. I said, open up a Roth. So he opens up a Roth IRA. At 18 years old, we're on a call and he says, I funded my Roth IRA. What do I do now? And I said, all right, how much did you fund it with? Now he's 18 years old. I'm thinking he funded it with $500. He fully funded his Roth IRA, $6,500. And then he tells me that he funded the 2024 Roth also already, $7,000. This kid put $13,500 away at 18 years old. If we put it away in an S&P 500 fund at 8%, 9% over the long term, by the time he is retirement age, that will go up 107 times. 107 times. $1.2, $1.3 million if he did nothing else. And because it's in a Roth, it's all tax-free. So it is important for you to take advantage of these accounts. If you don't understand them, then let's get the understanding. Okay, whether it's through my trainings, through my show, or my book, let's get the understanding so you maximize it, because that was one thing that I left behind. In fact, I cashed out my 401k at one point in time. Big mistake, big mistake. But at 40 years old, you still have the ability to build wealth, because every dollar you put away will go up anywhere between 5 and 7.5 times. 5 and 7.5 times by the time you're ready to retire. It's pretty good odds, pretty good money. So now, let's go to number 3. Get serious about diversification. I didn't, now back in the day when I was doing this, I was not really focused on building a portfolio that works to start building the money machine. I didn't understand the elements that I understand today. And so what ended up happening is that I had this very convoluted, complex structure in my investing that wasn't really serving me. It wasn't creating cash flow. It wasn't creating diversification of income streams. It wasn't creating a way for me to remove myself from the efforts to earn. It was creating a dependency and a complexity that made it difficult to manage. What I would look at 40 years old is I would start to look at it and say, what can I do to diversify my income streams, my ability to earn from my actions to earn it? In other words, yes, I have my job or I have my business, but there are other ways to earn money that aren't tied to your efforts. That's where your financial freedom comes in. That's what the money machine is about, to remove the ability to earn from the efforts to earn it, so you have a life of choice. And what we should be doing is in our 40s, if not sooner, asking ourselves, how can, once I get my regular earnings spinning and that plate spinning and generating income, how can I use that and my skills to create another additional set of income and a stream of income that isn't tied to the efforts? Because if you start another endeavor or you get another job, great. But now you're on two treadmills. I don't want you on two treadmills. I want you to build something that doesn't require you to be on the treadmill. And I would have gotten more serious about it sooner in the game. That leads me to number 4, which actually helps with number 3, and that is I would invest in skills, not just stocks, not just investments. My own skill development is what allowed me to, one, recover from the Ponzi scheme. 2, was to allow me to expand my wealth faster and more effectively. And it is a skill set. Wealth building is a learnable skill. It is not taught, okay, unfortunately, and it should be. Money management is a learnable skill. So it is important for us to start to look at and say, what are skills that help you build wealth? Things like, how do you figure out time management, priorities, negotiation, leadership, technical skills, the understanding of how money flows, understanding of the fundamentals of investing. All of those things is saying, the more I can skill up, the better I am at building wealth. But the other side of that is, the more I skill up, the better I am at generating income. Because the more I got more skills into my talent pool, if you will, the more I was able to build, the more I was paid the ability to do those things. So it is important to understand that your skill set is probably one of your greatest assets for wealth building, because it can drive your income and it can drive your ability to build the money machine more effectively. So I would invest in skills sooner and make sure that that was a priority. That leads me to number 5. Number 5 is I would prioritize my future. What do I mean by that? I mean that I would prioritize my building my financial freedom versus material trappings, acquiring stuff, achieving, and just acquiring expensive cars, expensive hobbies, expensive stuff because I'm looking good. But you know what? I'm in debt, or I'm overextended, or I'm not building anything for the future. I looked at someone's budget, okay? Mind you, this is crazy. I looked at someone's budget. They make $1.1 million a year. They're a surgeon. They're a doctor. They make over $1 million a year. And when I looked at their spending on a monthly basis, at the end of the month, they had less than $500 left. Less than $500 left. And in their bank accounts, they had $40,000. That's it. Their spending was outrageous because they were so focused on the materialities, the trappings of what it looked like on the outside, that they weren't really starting to build wealth. Remember, I've said, in fact, I've got an episode out there that talks about the greatest purchase you can make is your own freedom. It's not stuff. And so I didn't get that. And it's hard in this world. You're on social media. They're all comparing, and they're parading their facades of their perfect life in front of you. And you see how they're living, and you want to live that way. I get it. The media, the marketing messages, all of that gets to us. But we have to be disciplined. That's why we need a vision for our life, specific to our life, because you're living your life, not anyone else's. And you need a plan for it and a strategy to make it a reality. That's what we do with our clients. That's what I do when I do my Money Machine Master plans with my clients, to literally build the plan out for the rest of their life, so they see the probability of success and what they need to do. But what we tend to do is, living in the moment jeopardizes our financial future, our financial freedom, and building the money machine. And what we really need to do is make that the priority. That doesn't mean you leave everything on the table. That doesn't mean you don't enjoy life. Trust me, I enjoy life immensely, and with my wife and everything. It's why when we build the plan, I ask my clients, I want 3 to 4 sustainable, meaningful joy points that we make sure we build into the plan. Because if you do not enjoy the path to financial freedom, you will not enjoy the destination of financial freedom. But when we build the joy points in that are meaningful, not momentary pleasures, not keeping up with the Joneses by swiping on Instagram and buying stuff you don't really need, but the stuff that really means something to you, that joy will sustain you as you're building your financial future. That leads me to number 6. Number 6 is I would be more selective about debt. Debt is your great wealth destroyer. I would absolutely avoid consumer debt, destructive debt like the plague. I remember in the day, they don't do it anymore, but I remember back in when I was in college, there was credit card companies on campus and they were giving us credit cards. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know that when the bill came in, we had to pay the bill. And yet we'd run up credit cards. My brother and I, we had an identical twin brother. He was down in San Diego in school. I remember one weekend I went to visit him. We literally went to the mall and went from store to store and applied for store credit cards because we got the 10% discount. And then we would buy stuff. And all of a sudden, all these bills came in. And like we were buried in debt. We're going, oh my God. So I would tell you to be very selective about the debt. The only debt you take on is productive debt. That debt that's going to increase your cash flow, increase your net worth over the long term. If it is for consumables, if it is to finance a lifestyle that you can't afford to pay for cash, then it's out. It's not something that you want to use. And that goes for also being really cautious about student loan debt. I've got a family member that got a PhD in art history. He's got $150,000 in student loan debt, and he's got a job that pays him $30,000. He's buried. Our rule is 12 to 18 months of your starting salary. That's the max you're going to get on debt if you use it at all. Okay, there are other ways to pay for school, grants, scholarships, working through it, work programs, all those things. And you always look at it and say, what is the ROI on the education? If I'm going to spend $150,000 or $200,000 on an education that gets me a $30,000 job, it's not a good investment. And so I would be more selective about that. Now, number seven is know your number. Know what your number is. In other words, know the destination. How much do you need to be financially free? So often, I will meet with a new client. I'll have a conversation, and I say, what do you want your life to look like? And they have no clue. They haven't taken the time to define what the vision is for their life. And because they haven't taken the time to define the vision, they have no idea of the price tag of that vision or how far they are from it. If you don't know where your finish line is, you will keep running a race that you'll never win, because you don't even know whether you've crossed the finish line or it's miles away. And so it's important for you to calculate what your rough estimate at the beginning of your freedom number is. It's one of the things that we do in a very detailed way with our clients in our Money Machine Master Plans, where I literally build the plan out. And we test it and we stress test it and we do all kinds of things beyond what you can do in a spreadsheet. But there are simple ways to at least get a ballpark of your financial freedom number. In fact, I have a tool that is free to download that'll get you a simple path to getting that number. I'll make sure that we link it up in the show notes here and everything so you get access to it. But you have to have a clear target. But before you get that clear target, understand what the life looks like and why you want it. Because money is a result. It's not a purpose. So the question is, what's the purpose behind the money? You give your money a higher purpose, your life will take a higher purpose too. All right. And then number eight, health plus wealth. Okay. I think that as much as we plan for wealth, we need to plan for health also. Listen, this didn't happen in my 40s. It happened in my 50s. but I was following my wealth and my money, just checking it regularly, regularly, regularly. And I was doing that with my health. I worked out. I've worked out literally consistently for 5, 6 days a week almost since high school. Okay. But then I moved. I moved away from where I lived, where all my doctors were, and I hadn't seen a doctor in 7 years. 7 years. And then all of a sudden, I get symptoms of what turned out to be cancer. Now, it doesn't mean that if I had seen a doctor sooner, it would have avoided the cancer. It just means that the tumor that they found, which turned out to be 7.5 centimeters, wouldn't have gotten that big. We probably would have caught it sooner, and I wouldn't have been in the precarious position of losing my bladder or losing my life. It just would have been different. And I think that we need to look at planning for our money, our health, and wealth at the same time, because creating habits around wealth are no different than creating habits around health. Having wealth and not having health it's not a way to live. Look at what happened with Steve Jobs. And he made that statement before he died, that having all of the wealth, he couldn't take away the health challenges he had. Okay. So it is important for us to plan health and wealth. And the better time to do it is early on, because you can do things around your health that that are easier when you're younger to do that. Now, number 9 is get comfortable with risk. Here's the deal. If you're going to make investments, if you're going to build wealth, there's going to be risk involved. It's just the way it is. Just be smart about it. Now, remember, I talk about in my book the risk triad: risk tolerance, risk capacity, and risk need. The intersection of those will define the risk you should be taking on and allows you to be smart about it. You cannot be completely risk-free when it comes to investing. Otherwise, you're not invested. And in fact, not investing is a risk in and of itself. So you don't put caution to the wind and just invest recklessly because there's high returns. When someone says to you, we can get you 25% returns, it's because you're taking on more risk versus someone that's saying, I can get you 10% returns. The question isn't the return. The question is, what's the right return and the right risk for the recipe to create the financial freedom you need in the time you need it? So we don't shy away from risk, but we need to be smart about it. And in your 40s, you still have time on your side. You don't have to be reckless, and you don't have to take on an inordinate amount of risk. But if you're too conservative, you lose the time, and now we're behind the 8 ball. So we got to find a balance between the two. Leads me to number 10, and this is really about mentors and coaches. Getting the right people in your life that can support you, that you can go to, that you trust. Not someone that's getting paid a commission, not someone that is making money transaction from you, but someone that is where you want to be or beyond where you want to be, that understands it, that can guide you, that can help you learn from their mistakes, that can keep you from making the mistakes they made. It's one of the reasons I do what I do, is to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that I made, so you can accelerate your path to financial freedom without the stress, without the mistakes, and without the cost. I mean, listen, I lost 1/3 of everything I owned in that Ponzi scheme. I don't want that to happen to you. So having the right mentors, the right coaches in your corner to support you on your financial journey will be instrumental in navigating that path to financial freedom. I am a consultant for companies. I sit on boards of directors as their consultant to give them perspective. I work with families as their family CFO, helping them, guide them, and I work with individuals to make that happen, to become that sounding board, if you will, to ask the hard questions and do the right things to make that happen. And then that leads me to the last one, number 11. This is going to drive my English teacher crazy. Ain't no perfect time. If you're waiting for the perfect time to start, it's not coming. The perfect time to start, if you haven't started, is now. In my 40s, I needed to be in the game, and I needed to be in the game heavy. And I wasn't at the level that I should have been. And so the key is this. Remember, if you're going to win the wealth game, you have to be on the field. You cannot be on the sidelines, and you cannot be in the stands. You have to be on the field. That means that if you're not in the game, you get in the game. Even if it's $5, even if it's $10, you get in the game, you start exercising the muscle. Too often people delay until they think they're making more, until they think that it's time. But here's the thing we know. The more time you have, the less money you need to build wealth. The less time you have, the more money you need to build wealth. Okay? There isn't a perfect time. You cannot time the market. It's not, you can't sit back and say, I know when the exact top is or when the exact bottom is. It hasn't, no one's been able to do it. Even the best hedge fund traders with the best algorithms, the best computers, the best data, they can't do it. There's no reason for you to do it because you can't. The key is to get in the game with proven strategies, understanding skills that will, over the long term, build for you. It's how we do things to make that happen. But I need you to get in the game, to be prepared to get in the game, because it's the only way you're going to win the game, because you can't win it if you're not playing it. All right. So those are the 11 things that I would have told myself at 40 years old that I think would have changed the trajectory and the path to wealth for me. It would have accelerated my path to financial freedom. It would have got me there sooner. It would have kept me out of trouble more often. And it would have taken more stress away. And I want that for you. I hope that this helps you to go through this and say, all right, what do I have? What do I need to get into my life? Whether I'm 20, 30, 40, 50, or 60, these things matter. Get in the game and let's get you dialed in. If you need help on any of this, do me a favor, reach out to me. Stay with me on this journey. If you're not subscribed to this channel or this show, make sure that you click subscribe, be part of this journey with me. That's what we're here to do. I'm here to help you master your money, eliminate financial stress so you can live a life by choice. All right. As I always say, until I get a chance to see another episode, another show, or maybe down on the road as I'm speaking, always strive to live a life that outlives you. See you in the next one.